Today we are solving a SQL question which is asked in an Uber interview. We will see what kind of question is asked, what will be your approach, how you will explain that to the interviewer while you are writing your query. So let's get started. So if you can see, there is one question which is saying that you have a table of Uber transaction which is made by user. You have to write a query to obtain the third transaction of each user, and you have to see the user ID spent and the transaction days as an output. So if you just look at the table, you have the columns and there are some values. Now if you just look at the example input, you have the user ID 111 repeated 3 times. You only want to see this last transaction ID as a final output. Now, since we can have multiple transactions for one single user, we have to rank them up, saying that okay, this is first transaction for this user, this is second transaction for this user, so on, so that I can identify the third transaction. That is the first thing. Second thing is, I don't want to see the third transaction for my whole table. I want to see the third transaction for each and individual user. So my ranking should be given to the each user in that case. So I will start this question by writing my query and using the window function in that case. So I will say select. Now what all I need all the column which is there in the table, and after that I will apply a function called row number, and in this I will add a partition. Why I am adding a partition? Because as I have mentioned that I need to make sure that for each individual user I am giving the rank. So the partition will be on user ID. After that, I wanted to sort my data as well, because the transaction date can be in ascending or in the descending order. But I will make sure that I am considering that in the ascending order, so that the third transaction date will come accordingly. Now I will just write my table name, which is transactions in this case. So while writing the queries in the interview as well, you have to make sure that you are explaining those stuffs in the interview as well, because then only they will understand that you don't only need the basic part of it, you also know the whole agenda. Okay, partition, okay, it's fine. There's some spelling mistake. Okay, so now you can easily see that for each individual we are seeing the rank. I will just try to reduce the size so that you can see that for each user we are seeing rank like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and so on. But the expectation is that only see the third transaction, and also I don't want it to see the row number as a column here. So I will make this as either as a subquery or as a CT based upon your value. So I can just say that user rank, something like this. I'm just renaming this column, and I will using a subquery in that case. So I will say I wanted to see some columns from this table, right? And while selecting the data from this table, always make sure that you are not selecting everything. You are selecting some few records. What is that record? Where my rank is 3. So where my user rank is coming up as 3 equals to 3. Now what all column you need? I need the user ID, I need transaction date, I need spend. So I will just use those columns here, and I will try to add a question. Now if you see, it is showing you all the user IDs, spend and the transaction date. And if I try to submit this code, it will show you that it is accepted. So this particular code is fine. Now you might have the question that why I am using a row number in this case rather than a dense rank or rank, because dense rank will give you the repeated rank if the records are repeated. But I just wanted to make sure that for each individual record I am seeing a different rank. So I just tried with a row number in this case, because it will not consider those repeated record as a same rank in that example. So it's a very, very basic question, I would say, because the only logic which you have to build is that you have to apply a row number with a partition on user ID, and then you have to try to wrap that up in a subquery or in a CTE, because you cannot directly apply a where statement. Again, this is very important. Why I cannot do it with a normal query? Because the where statement which you are applying, that cannot be written inside your inner query directly, because you are creating a new column, and in the new column you cannot apply a where statement. Where statement will only be applicable on the columns which is a part of your table itself. If you try to do that, it will give you an error. If you feel that you want to try it, you can do that, but this is the best solution. You can also try it with CTE as well, but this is the underlying solution for this one. So I think that's it from my side for today. I will come up with a new question soon. Thank you.